People are sharing the creepiest unsolved mysteries that they can't stop thinking about. So I decided to look into the details of each one. Brandon Swanson's case always boggled my mind. The fact that he alerted his parents that he was lost and needed help. They were on the phone with him, heading toward him, only to hear his last moments. To know they were so close is so terrifying. Recently, Reddit user uRandomWeeb asked the people of r/Reddit to share the creepiest unsolved mystery that keeps them up at night. After reading through some of these, I will definitely not be sleeping soundly for the next couple of days. Here are the most bone-chilling cases. Warning: disturbing and graphic content ahead.
1. Mora Murray. The 21-year-old nursing student disappears after a car crash. Mora Murray was last seen in Haverhill, NH, by a truck driver who offered her assistance as her vehicle was stuck in a ditch. She denied the Good Samaritan's help, but he still called 911 when he got home. When the police arrived, Mora was missing and has never been seen again. Mora Murray was the youngest daughter born to Fred and Lori Murray. Mora was an exceptional young lady. She had an excellent relationship with her brothers, Fred Jr. and Curtis Murray, and her sisters Kathleen and Julie Murray. In addition to excelling in academics, Mora was a star athlete. As a teenager, she competed all over the New England area with her basketball team and was once deemed the Boston Globe All-Scholastic in cross-country running. When she graduated high school, Mora had offers from various colleges. Instead of attending college for academics or athletics, she accepted a nomination and enrolled in the prestigious West Point Military Academy, where her sister Julie was already registered. By her second year at West Point, though, Mora had come to the conclusion that military life wasn't for her. Mora left West Point and decided to pursue a career as a nurse and enrolled at the University of Massachusetts, Amherst. The day of Mora's disappearance. On February 9, 2004, Mora's professors received an email from her. The email read that she would be away for the next week due to a death in the family. Later, Mora's family would confirm that no one in the family had passed away. Mora placed a phone call to the owner of an apartment complex. After the phone call ended, she packed a bag full of toiletries, textbooks, and clothes and left. A little after 3:00 p.m., Mora was spotted at an ATM, where she withdrew $280. Then she drove to a liquor store, where she purchased about $40 worth of alcohol. Mora then drove her 1996 Saturn toward New Hampshire. No one was aware of Mora's plans to leave that day or why she would be headed toward New Hampshire that afternoon. Between 7:00 p.m. and 7:30 p.m., Butch Atwood was driving his bus in Haverhill, NH, when he came across a car stuck in a ditch. When Butch offered to call authorities for Mora, she refused the offer and told him AAA was on their way, so Butch drove home. Once he arrived home, though, he placed a call to 911 informing them about the crash. He confirmed that although Mora seemed shaken, there was no visible sign of injury or blood. The day Mora was discovered missing. The first officer arrived at the crash site around 7:45 p.m., and by the time he got there, Mora was gone. The vehicle was locked, and there was a box of wine behind the driver's side seat. Mora's cell phone and wallet were missing from the car, but everything else was left behind. There was a significant amount of damage to the front of Mora's car. Tracker dogs were sent to the area but lost Mora's scent within 100 yards. The witness who saw Mora last said that she did seem as if she was intoxicated at the scene. Police are under the impression Mora hitched a ride from the accident scene and drove off into the distance. There was no indication that any sort of fight or struggle occurred at the location, and there were no footprints in the snow. Where Mora's case stands today, after Mora disappeared, investigators searched her computer. They found out she was searching hotel rooms up in Burlington, VT. No clues turned up when authorities went to Burlington to search for Mora. In March of 2004, another female who resembled Mora went missing from the New England area. Her name is Brianna Maitland. Similarities in the cases include both women being pretty, brunette, and their vehicles being left behind with personal items. Although no one has ruled that the incidents may be related, it is not likely. 2 days before Mora went missing, she crashed her father's vehicle. Mora walked away from the accident okay, but there were thousands of dollars worth of damage to the car. Mora was also arrested after she used a stolen credit card number to order food. The charges were dismissed under the commitment Mora maintains good behavior. Her father doesn't think either circumstance has anything to do with her missing. At the time of her disappearance, Mora was in a relationship with Billy Rausch. Some sources even state the two were allegedly engaged. Mora was having an affair with her track coach Hossein Baghdadi around that same time. Baghdadi told authorities that Mora often confided in him that Billy was very controlling. Years after Mora's disappearance, Rausch was indicted on felony sex abuse charges by a grand jury. Butch Atwood's encounter with Mora is the last known sighting of her. There have been many theories about what happened to Mora, but the case has gone cold. However, social media has continued to keep Mora's case in the spotlight. Police even dug up a basement searching for Mora, but detectives didn't find any plausible evidence. In 2021, remains were found, but DNA testing confirmed they did not belong to Mora. Even though Mora's behavior was suspicious the days before she went missing, her parents do not believe she went missing on her own accord. Investigators disagree, but the investigation is ongoing. The Murray family and investigators agree on one thing, though. They want to find Mora and bring her home. There are many ways you can help bring attention to Mora's story. Listen to the Missing Mora Murray podcast for an even deeper dive into her mysterious disappearance. Share Mora's case on Twitter by using hashtags like @FindMora and @Mora Murray. Mora's family has created a GoFundMe to raise money for ground-penetrating radar. The radar would be used in the area of particular interest regarding the case. Two, Sarah Ann Wood. Is Sarah Ann Wood the victim of a serial killer? Sarah's legacy lives on as a beacon of hope for the thousands of missing and murdered children across the USA. On August 18, 1993, Sarah Wood was abducted a short way away from her home, carrying supplies from Bible school. Her bike was found perched against a tree and her items were thrown into bushes a few feet away. For years, her trail had gone cold, until one girl in Massachusetts outsmarted her would-be captor. January 7, 1994. Less than a year after Sarah's unexplained disappearance, a girl named Rebecca is walking to school one morning when a man shoves a gun up against her back and demands she go with him. Thankfully, Rebecca thinks quickly and fakes an asthma attack, allowing her to get away from this frightening stranger. The man who abducted her was soon identified as Louis Lent, a local janitor from town who worked at her school. He made the young kids uncomfortable, and students often tried to avoid him. When confronted with the evidence, Louis folded. Lent quickly realized the mounting evidence against him and confessed to the murder of James Bernardo, a young boy who was taken from Lentstown and found over 180 miles away in New York State. Lent drew a crude map to a location where he claimed Sarah was buried, but thorough search of the area revealed nothing. Lent then recanted his testimony, claiming that he didn't want officials to know where she was buried, as he had another body close by that he didn't want to be disturbed. Regardless of his recanted confession, Lent is in prison for the rest of his life. He was convicted of the murders of James Bernardo and Sarah Wood. Joint FBI and police task forces think that Lent was a serial killer and that he might be responsible for the deaths of at least 6 other children in the NY area, including that of Jamie Lusher. Sarah's parents have worked tirelessly to ensure that her disappearance never lost the public's attention and tirelessly campaigned to ensure that legislation was changed to accommodate missing and murdered kids. The local Enigmas branch is named after Sarah Ann, and loved ones still celebrate her life in an annual bike ride to Washington, D.C. If you have any information on this case, please call the Enigmas tip line at 800-843-5678.